Well, simply put, it's been an explosive couple of weeks for your money. Last week's GDP number adding fuel to the fire. Let's bring in none other than Larry Kudlow, White House economic advisor. Larry, welcome to you. 3.2%, huge win. It's only up from here, right? What do you want to see in the second quarter?
Well, I still think we're on a 3% trajectory. Look, the key point here is President Trump's policies on lower taxes, deregulation, energy opening, trade reform. What you've got is he's rebuilding the economy. And, people kind of miss this. They don't understand, I think, the incentive model of economic growth. He's rebuilding the economy, and we're in a very strong prosperity cycle, probably the first one in 20 years. So I know the skeptics are the skeptics, but the reality is the numbers are coming in very strong to prove our case. And I just want to say on that 3.2, not only did growth go up, I mean, it beat all the expectations. And actually, for a first quarter, you almost could have put another percent in there. But inflation came down. So I think that's a very good combination. And you got some numbers this morning in the personal income report. Very strong real consumer spending. Another drop in the inflation rate. Real wages and salaries, okay, that's income adjusted for inflation, up almost 4%. So all these pieces are fitting in very nicely. We'd be happy to stick with the 3% trend line. That's where we're going to go on this one.
You know, it's interesting, Larry, you brought something up, because when you see a booming economy, you expect inflation, some economists will tell you, to go up. Clearly, that's not the case. If anything, it's slipping a bit. So does that open the door for the Fed to maybe cut rates?
Well, it might. Look, the Fed is independent, but they have been themselves talking about it coming in lower than their inflation target, which might mean a lower interest rate adjustment, on their own timetable. I don't want to go too far in that, but yes, that opens the door. But it's interesting. This is a supply-side boom, so productivity is rising, investment is rising. I mean, here's another stat for you. Core capital goods orders, core capital goods orders up 10% from December through March, 10% at an annual rate. That's a big number. So you're getting business investment, productivity. That, in turn, leads to real wages. Now, you're producing more goods, right, with the same volume of money supply. There's not too much money chasing too few goods. So, yeah, this is a supply-side boom, and I think it's going to continue.
I want to ask you, Larry, about this tweet from the president. He was tweeting earlier about the NRA. Then he took aim at New York State, tweeting in part, quote, "People are fleeing New York State because of high taxes and, yes, even oppression of sorts. They didn't even put up a fight against SALT. Could have won." Larry, is that true? Could we have not had this cap on SALT?
Not sure on that. I have not spoken to him about that particular point. Look, on the SALT business, as I've said before, don't forget, we basically ended the alternative minimum tax. So a lot of these deductions that people are talking about would not have come about under the old AMT system, right? In some sense, the well-to-do people, the most successful people, they're getting some deduction, 10,000. They might not have gotten any under the old AMT system. Speaking as somebody who lived in New York for 30 years or whatever, I want New York to do well. I've spoken to Governor Cuomo a couple times about this. He cut the corporate tax, by the way, during his first term. I think that was a great move, and it helped. My plea to the governor is always to try to bring down income tax rates. It's the state tax rates that are the biggest problem up there. I'm not sure the governor's there yet, but maybe we'll talk some more about that. But that's my hope.
All right, last one for you, Larry. I'm sure you know that this week is another big week for China trade talks. It's like every week is, of course. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin says we are in the final laps of making a deal. What can we expect? How close are we?
Well, look, there's actually two items on the agenda this week on trade. One is China. You're quite right. I want to just touch on USMCA in a moment. On China, so Ambassador Lighthizer, Secretary Mnuchin going over. I think they're leaving today. They'll be there this week. China's top man, Liu He, will be here the following week. So in the next 2 weeks, hopefully we'll get a lot of clarity. We've come a long way on these talks. As you know, it's covered all the ground and then some, including enforcement, and structural issues and commodity issues. Let's see what happens. I think we're going to get a much clearer picture at the end of this 2-week period. And I remain cautiously optimistic on this. I think we're pretty close. I want to put in a plug for USMCA, which could produce $100 billion per year in added GDP, maybe 170, 180,000 jobs. That's a huge thing for American farmers will benefit. The new economy benefits with the new IP patent protections. I think the government of Mexico, or at least the Parliament of Mexico, their upper house will pass their labor reform bill today or tomorrow. That would be a very positive development. That was in our deal and in Ambassador Lighthizer thinking. USMCA is essentially a nonpartisan, bipartisan bill. And we're hoping that Speaker Pelosi, who's been very cooperative so far, will give us a vote in the near future, and we can get that through. USMCA is hugely important to the American economy and the whole North American economy. Let's hope that we can nail that one. President Trump could have some very big trade wins here, very big trade wins, and that will add to the prosperity cycle that I was talking about before.
All right. As always, Larry Kudlow, thank you so much, Larry, taking time out to talk to us. Appreciate it.
Pleasure, always.